At a recent church gathering, Chrisean Rock was the life of the party when she showed up with her nearly 2-year-old son. The child next to her became a subtle topic of conversation as it focused on her latest musical release, not because of his looks or personality, but because something felt off. There was an unsettling silence among those who knew Chrissy and her family well. The youngster appeared almost unlike the few teasers that were first made public online months ago, instead of radiating the joy and pride of a mother celebrating the growth of her kid. There was a subtle but perceptible tension in the air that made many people feel slightly uncomfortable about what they witnessed. The child's behavior and appearance became concerning since he seemed to be trapped in a time warp and showed no signs of physical or developmental progress. He rarely came across anyone's gaze, appeared abnormally focused and disconnected from his surroundings after a video showing Chrissy carrying her son into the church went viral. A dispassionate physician who was not related to the family gave a public assessment, providing a professional perspective on what was witnessed. The doctor stated that the child would never be able to learn to speak if prompt and adequate medical help was not provided. This was not merely conjecture. It was a serious professional evaluation, assessment that quickly gained popularity online and alarmed viewers in the early days following the child's birth. Blueface's mother publicly shared her own sadness live on Instagram, setting a depressing tone that suddenly seemed alarmingly relevant. When Chrisean Rock first announced her kid to the world, there was a palpable sense of joy. But little hints beneath the surface began to frighten onlookers. The infant barely moved his head and paid little attention, given his environment, and instead of the soft coos one would expect from a newborn, his screams broke the silence with a high-pitched shriek that raised eyes, even as her son's screams could be heard faintly behind her. Chrissy argued that her infant was healthy despite these warning signs, even defending the Blueface name tattoo on her flesh. Anxiety grew as the months passed. Her 8-month-old baby was not very eager to eat and didn't even recognize the spoon until it was almost at his lips, was a stark contrast to the passionate curiosity that defines infants of his age. Fans and admirers voiced genuine concerns about the child's apparent retreat and the fact that he hadn't reached the normal developmental stages. Chrissy dismissed these concerns as baseless pessimism, saying that although doctors had told her everything was okay, no records or updates from pediatric exams were ever given, leaving others to speculate about her true motivations. Confident claims a small head, flat facial features, and low-set ears were among the physical traits that observers saw. These traits are occasionally linked to conditions involving alcohol consumption during pregnancy. The child's odd sobs, however, suggested that withdrawal symptoms might be present. Chrissy's sporadic social media posts further added to the mystery, because many people felt that if physicians had truly cleared her son, she would have openly expressed her confidence. Chrissy was later publicly chastised by Blueface for being slow. Procedure to fix their son's hernia before things became worse. Her rehabilitation was briefly updated, but the problems were still unsolved. As Junior's first birthday approached, a video of him taking tentative, unsteady steps surfaced. Instead of feeling relieved, viewers felt uneasy. The boy's motions seemed forced, lacking the spontaneous delight and animated curiosity that characterize toddlers of his age. Was a clear feeling of estrangement because the infant looked weak and detached from his environment. Chrissy's child had become a tool for maintaining her relationship with Blueface and attracting attention to herself, leading to speculation that her motivations might extend beyond motherhood. This accusation was painful, even though many of those who voiced concern did so with sincere compassion. Parenting demands initiative, tolerance, and consistency, especially when dealing with a child who may have special needs, qualities that the general population felt were absent. A close friend of mine explained Chrissy's struggle was characterized by fatigue and denial, indicating that she was a mother who was overburdened but reluctant to face the challenges directly. In the end, Chrissy ceased sharing updates about her son's life on the internet. The action was praised by many who hoped it would allow her to focus on his care. However, the same alarming signs persisted when the child reappeared at a church event. Emotional disengagement, quiet, and quietness. This beautiful image reminded me of a challenging pregnancy that involves substance addiction and public debates that affect the child's current struggles in a lasting way. Clarissa, Blueface's mother, a lifetime opponent of Chrissy, expressed her anguish after meeting her grandson and finding it difficult to connect the kid she saw with the child she had hoped for. In the meantime, Chrissy's public persona, which was filled with music promotions and motivational quotes, felt very different from the somber reality of her son's circumstances. Strangers, medical professionals, and supporters united to push Chrissy to prioritize genuine concern over looks. But she continued to hide the truth behind faith and vague statements. Insisting that everything was okay, Clarissa presented a compelling argument. It is help, not glasses, that this child needs. Beyond the celebrity drama, this narrative is a potent cautionary tale about the grave repercussions that instability, neglect, and poor choices can have on those who are most in need. JR must live with the consequences of decisions made. Before he was born, even though he did not ask to be born into a chaotic and unpredictable world, might have the ability to communicate. He has been thrust into a turbulent environment from the beginning, one that has been shaped by unfulfilled desires, family conflicts, and public scrutiny. Chrissy's choice to openly talk about her pregnancy and parenting experience resulted in ongoing expectations and criticism, which put further stress on both mother and child. Videos of her drinking and smoking during her pregnancy fueled rumors that she prioritized appearance and drama over her health, putting the unborn child's health at risk. Dangerously ignored the boy's lack of development and alienation. Over 2 years later are more than just developmental setbacks. They are urgent requests for help. The alarm is being raised by sympathetic voices begging for attention and action for a child in desperate need of care, connection, and hope, not by naysayers throwing stones. At the moment, the focus is not on the online outrage or Chrissy's public defenses. It has to do with what she is prepared to think of her son's future. Can she set aside her need for approval and her well-preserved image to accept the fact that her child urgently needs professional assistance? Her child is more likely to sustain permanent harm the more days the mother refuses to assist. Early intervention can change a person's life, and every child should have the chance to flourish. However, Chrissy's persistent resistance to acknowledging the gravity of her son's condition just helps to heighten doubt and fear. A child's future is at risk. Avoidance replaces accountability, and her online persona acts as a cloak for her evasiveness. Equally significant is the role that Blueface, the boy's father, plays. Although he occasionally makes appearances in public discussions about the issue, these sporadic appearances hardly amount to real-world involvement. His remarks, though sometimes well-meaning, often seem more like image management than sincere declarations of responsibility. This split is more than just visible, it's alarming. It portrays a parent who is more focused on upholding his reputation than tenaciously defending his family. It takes much more than a few words here and there to be a good parent. It requires ongoing participation, attendance, and emotional dedication. For a child to overcome emotional and developmental challenges, both parents must be stable and confident, but Blueface's seeming inaction adds another layer of complexity. Introducing ambiguity into an already unstable home environment, his absence conveys to his son that he is unimportant. Such perceived parental negligence can seriously harm a child's sense of safety and self-worth. Furthermore, there are significant questions about Blueface's willingness to embrace his son's reality, given his reserve in the face of growing concerns. He misses valuable chances to advocate for his child's health and welfare by keeping the subject out of the public eye. When a parent ignores these problems, leaving the child to struggle alone, confusion and instability arise. The emotional, Cost of this kind of estrangement is high and long-lasting, establishing the child's sense of trust and future social relationships beyond the emotional toll. The practical side of raising a child with special needs necessitates coordinating daily nurturing rituals, medical care, and therapies, all of which call for flexibility and time. Due to Blueface's minimal public involvement, it seems that he has not yet completely accepted these responsibilities, leaving Chrissy to bear the brunt of the burden alone, and thus jeopardizing opportunities for timely aid. There is more to fatherhood than biology. It's about actively participating and showing up to protect. The delicate balance required for successful co-parenting is upset when one parent withdraws, leaving a gap that feeds instability and blue faces. Distance is not merely an absence. This disparity jeopardizes the child's prospects of a secure, nurturing upbringing. In the end, this little youngster is locked in a challenging and tragic situation, where two people seem more concerned with maintaining their public personas than with giving a child the kind of loving, attentive care that they so desperately need. The child's needs are frequently overlooked in a narrative that is dominated by image management because of the focus that is placed on them by social media and celebrity. And private drama, his future is unpredictable and full of obstacles because of the damage this lack of real parental support poses to the foundation necessary for his development and well-being. Parenting is much more than just bringing a kid into the world. It also entails the constant hands-on work of nurturing, protecting, and guiding that child through the challenges of life. For this boy, whose emotional detachment and developmental difficulties are already reasons to be concerned, it is especially painful when such unwavering involvement is lacking. Early childhood development depends on consistency and stability, which are compromised when both parents are not actively present and involved. This goes beyond simply providing for a child's fundamental necessities. It also involves establishing a safe space where he or she feels appreciated, encouraged, and free to explore, learn, and express themselves. The part that Blueface plays in this narrative is quite important. Although he has occasionally speaking openly about his son, these instances hardly ever result in tangible, significant action. The voids left by a parent who is absent or disengaged cannot be filled with words alone. Beyond appearances, a level of dedication is necessary for real influence. A dedication to attending doctor's appointments, taking part in therapy sessions, and offering emotional support despite the challenges that may arise. This calls for an openness to facing harsh realities and a readiness to put the child's needs first. Needs over one's own image or public opinion. Tragically, the boy's life has turned into a public spectacle, a battlefield where personal conflicts are discussed in front of the public and the child is caught in the crossfire. No youngster should ever have to play this role. He is left vulnerable to criticism, conjecture, and the strain of continual inspection rather than being shielded from the storm by the adults who brought him into the world. The repercussions of such exposure can have a significant impact on his present health as well as his future emotional fortitude and faith in others. This circumstance is a powerful reminder of the enormous responsibility that comes with being a parent. It is a call to action for Chrissy and Blueface, as well as anybody else who can help or encourage them to put this vulnerable child's immediate needs ahead of their notoriety and public persona. The path forward is unsure, but there is still hope that he can get the help he needs to succeed if he is treated with sincere concern, honesty, and determination. The decisions made now will ultimately determine the course of this boy's life. Will the adults in his life accept their responsibilities with the necessary gravity and empathy? Or will they keep letting the demands of public life override their most basic obligation to love and care for their child in front of the world? Observing, and the stakes are bigger than ever. The decisions Chrissy and Blueface make in the upcoming months will now determine their destiny. This unpleasant reality necessitates quick action before it's too late. Hope will endure if both Parents are able to face their obligations, accept the repercussions of their history, and provide their kid the assistance he so sorely needs. However, this youngster can continue to be abandoned by those who care about them if they ignore the warning signs and turn a blind eye. Ought to be his strongest guardians. The entire globe is holding its breath while watching. Will these adults step up, take their responsibilities, and provide this youngster the care that they so richly need? Or will they continue to turn their backs on him until the opportunity to assist him is permanently lost? This tale is far from over, and everyone is looking for a way to hope and healing.